I'm April Henry, the author of Girl Stolen. Girl Stolen was inspired by a story I saw in the news about a blind girl who was accidentally kidnapped when someone stole her mother's car.
Heather, tell us briefly what happened. You were in the back of the car. Your mom went shopping.
Yes, and it was kind of a cold evening, so I didn't really feel like going in. And so I was sitting there listening to some music, and someone got in the car, and for a second I thought maybe it was my parents coming back, but it happened to be someone else. It didn't seem right.
So when I was watching this girl on TV, I thought, what if the thief were actually a teenager? And what if he panicked and he kept her? And what if his dad was actually a criminal running a chop shop? And what if she had almost talked them into letting her go when they realize that her parents are very wealthy and that they'll give a lot of money to get their daughter back? I think when you write a book, it's great to start with a what if and then just to follow with a whole string of what ifs. And that's what I do when I write. I didn't think I could write accurately about a person who's been blind since birth, since I think they probably see the world differently. So then I remembered something that happened when my daughter was younger. We were down in my hometown, which is a small town and doesn't have a lot of streetlights. We were walking along a road, and a car came up behind us and cast her shadows in front of us. And the shadows were long and thin, and as the car got closer to us, they got shorter and fatter. That part, I guess I always knew, but what my daughter pointed out to me was a surprise. It looked like our shadows were walking backward towards us. If you ever have a chance when you're on an unlit road and a car comes up behind you, watch what happens to your shadows, because it's pretty cool. But I took this kind of cool thing and I ended up using it to kind of kill off the main character's mom, which I guess would be me, and to blind the main character, which I guess would be kind of like my daughter. But I thought, what if this car that had come up behind us, what if it was racing another car and it hit us? And it killed me and it threw my daughter into a signpost, hitting her head and causing her to lose her sight. As part of my research, I went to the guide dog school for the blind. There's one near here, and even though my main character, Cheyenne, does not have her dog Phantom with her for most of the book, I also knew from reading autobiographies of people who are blind and have then later gotten a guide dog that it can really change your life. You can move around so much faster, and it makes you more approachable. People come up and talk to you about your dog. They'll want to pet it. And sometimes they'll even tell you how smart your dog is when it's just lying down. So when I went to the guide dog school, part of what they did is they put a blindfold on me, and then they brought me a guide dog in a harness, and they told me to put the harness on the dog. Now, if you've never really looked at a harness closely and you haven't actually seen the dog they've given you, it can be really hard. You have to hook it, and it feels like you have to pull it really tight to get it on. And I finally managed, although I was afraid that I was going to hurt the dog. And then when I was done, I was so proud of myself when I went to pat the dog